It has been a disastrous month for Italian fashion house Dolce & Gabbana. They posted a controversial video on social media showing a Chinese model struggling to eat Italian cuisine with chopsticks, which ignited serious backlash. China's growing group of affluent consumers has been attracting worldwide luxury brands for a long time. Has D&G's latest move killed its following in the largest market in the world? When Dolce & Gabbana posted a controversial ad showing a video of a Chinese model struggling to eat a pizza and a giant cannoli with chopsticks on social media last week, the internet was baffled and appalled. What was it trying to say? To add insult to injury, offensive messages allegedly written by D&G co-founder Stefano Gabbana about Chinese people went viral. The Italian firm had to cancel what was going to be the biggest fashion show in Shanghai earlier in the week, as backlash grew against the brand, with more and more Chinese celebrities vowing to never again wear D&G. This prompted Dolce & Gabbana to post an apology video on social media. But already, China's biggest e-commerce platforms, including Tmall, JD.com, and Seiko, had removed D&G items from their websites. Hong Kong department store Lane Crawford had also taken the brand's items off its shelves. The Milan-based brand has yet to respond to requests for comments from One TV. This is not the first time D&G co-founders Domenico Dolce and Stefano Gabbana courted controversy. They have sold what they called slave sandals, referred to babies born via in vitro fertilization as synthetic, claimed sexual harassment is not violence, and called critics of the brand's shoes fat and full of cholesterol. A study by Lundquist Trust looks at the substance or information and the distinctiveness or engagement and user experience of Italian businesses. D&G ranked in the lower reaches of the list at 70th out of 81 firms, meaning it had significantly insufficient digital culture, gaining only 16 out of 100 points. China's growing affluent consumer segment has been attracting worldwide luxury brands for a long time. According to consultancy Bain Company, the luxury goods market in the mainland has been forecast to grow by 20 to 22% in 2018, with the country accounting for the bulk of the global growth this year that has been put at 6 to 8% and reach 313 to 319 billion US dollars. This means China will become an even more lucrative market for luxury brands. We have with us today Dominic Wu, chairman of the Asia Financial Think Tank. Welcome, Dominic.
Hi, Joyce. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So let's first talk about the debacle that Dolce & Gabbana had last week. Given the history of discrimination against Asians, do you think their recent release of their ad campaign has killed their following in China?
Yeah, this is obviously is a big international news, right? And obviously, I think the original idea of the Dolce & Gabbana actually is want to do a massive marketing campaign to prepare for the fashion show, right? Obviously, if you look at the perception of the Chinese market, I think actually may defeat the purpose, right? So to be honest, I mean, we see that China actually contribute about 30% of the global revenue of D&G. And just because of this incident, right, some analysts already forecast it may affect about 500 million US dollar of their global revenue in the coming years, right? So and of course, China sales is also going up, right? So it's actually is a kind of opportunity for Gone, have a, I would say some financial impact to D&G. To be frank, I see, this is not the first time we have this kind of debacle. In 2012, I think in Hong Kong, there also some kind of criticism, right, on D&G about imposing some ban for the Hong Kong people to take photos on their shops, right? Yeah. So causing some kind of, blocking, their shops, for 2 or 3 days, right? And actually, for D&G, we also see that, I mean, apart from this incident, they also be criticized that they asked for some models to wear this back earring, try to pay some tribute, to Korean culture, or ask Chinese model, right, to wear this kind of what we call qibao, okay, just saying that, is actually the image of the modern Asians. Maybe I think it's to some people it may not perceive it this way, right? So I think it's that for this kind of international fashion brand names, but sometimes that they are not fully understand the culture of the customers, right? For example, like in this case, we still see the model actually playing this kind of chopsticks, okay, using it to eat the pizza, right? So I think that for Chinese, right, chopsticks has a special meaning, right? So we need to pay respect because this actually we use to eat our food, right? Yeah.
Of course.
So I think it's actually more a cultural misunderstanding. Yeah. So I think the Chinese government, right, actually is from the Chinese Ministry of Culture and Tourism, actually make a statement that if no one is willing to understand the culture of the market, actually you will lose the market. Yeah. So I think it's actually a good lesson for DNG. Also, if you look at the other similar incidents happened in China before, for example, this anti-Korean, campaign, causing because of the installation of the anti-missile system in Korea. So a lot in department store is also being suffering, right? Eventually, they have to dispose some of the department store in China. So it's actually up to DNG. Management willingness actually to repair their brand name in China, and actually really to pay more kind of respect, to the local culture and also the customer's preference. Yeah.
We'll see how well they do about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, according to the consultancy Bain Company, the luxury goods market in China is expected to grow, about 20% in 2018. What do you expect the main Chinese, clientele to be, and for other luxury brands, is it going to be mainly Chinese customers or, from elsewhere?
Yeah, sure. Actually, for this year, right, the Chinese customers actually have buy out about 35% of the global luxury products market. Actually, once rise by 1% from 2017, right? So it's a very, huge spending power. Okay, I think it's a contribute, back to the rise of the middle income class. Now, China is the biggest middle income class in the world, right? So also with the rise of the income, and I think the preference of the consumers is also changing. So if you follow up what we call the human need ladder, of course, the basic thing, necessity, foods, or I think they're already well satisfied. So they actually want to, go up the ladder to get some more kind of prestige or recognition, right? So international brand name, right, actually give the customers a taste of a kind of beverage, okay, or say a status. And more important is about the guarantee of the quality. Yeah. So, and also because they are well known, so if you actually stick to this brand name, actually will also, I would say, make you more integrated, with the international community. Yeah. So I think that unlike, for example, China, a lot of this brand name actually have a long history. Okay, so more than 100 years or 200 years, right? So they develop some kind of a heritage. Okay. The customers, who are actually fond of this brand name, they actually like to appreciate and also enjoy the usage of their products or services. So I feel that, because of the rise of the middle class, and also more important is about the young generation. Yeah, those who actually study abroad, return to China, they're already accustomed to these Western brand names. I think they will still to use it, right, and also introduce to the friends. So we do see the potential is very big. Yeah.
As you mentioned, a lot of young people these days seem to prefer domestic brands as opposed to Western ones. Why are young people more drawn to domestic brands? What do brands have to do in order to win over customers, especially Chinese ones these days, who have more spending power, as you mentioned?
Yeah. So, talking about some customer, why they prefer the local brand names than the international brand names. I think one very good example is the cigarette. Okay. When China is first opened up, everyone actually just buy imported cigarette. Okay. American brand name, Japanese brand name, or European brand names. But overnight, right, the market whole change. Now they all just now only buy Chinese cigarette. and the price of the Chinese cigarette is even more expensive than the imported cigarettes. This is quite mystery, right? So I think the drivers behind is that some of the products are more suited, to the local taste of the customers.
Right.
Yeah, because the culture, the living behavior, okay, also their understanding is very different, from the rest of the world, right? And I think the other thing is that also the influence by the peers. So if your friend, love this jacket, and wear in front of you, it also may influence you that you also want to spend some time to understand about this brand name, right? We also see that this already spread into other products. For example, like what we call spirit, those are baijiu, okay? So if you look at China, the most popular one is actual Maotai, okay? While the other kind of spirit in China actually is not that, have a very big demand, okay? Yeah. Another very good example, just over the recent year, is about the mobile phone, okay? So people used to buy like Apple phone or Samsung. Now Huawei or this Chinese brand name already take the market share, right? I think it's all because of the this product, right? Even local brand names, the quality have substantially improved, and actually they are almost the market leader in the world, right? And I think the other thing is that these brand names is now not only local brand names, they already become international brand names. Yeah, so actually I anticipate in the coming, say, 5 to 10 years, we do see there will be emergency of what we call international well-known Chinese brand names. Yeah.
Right. And turning over to the US now, we've seen over the Black Friday last week that online sales have reached new heights, but it seems that retail sales for physical stores have dropped for a consecutive 4 years. Do you see online retailing as being the main direction for shopping in general, not only for the US but mainly for other countries as well, probably?
Yeah. So online shopping is not something new, right?
Yeah.
So actually, I think the advantage of online shopping, right, is to really address the customer need. Okay, so they actually want things that transaction can be done more quickly. Products are more cheaper, and also more offer more varieties of the things for them to choose, right? And also save the time, the cost, and also the energy. Okay, so it's inevitable. Okay. Actually, this is interesting. Is that I talked to some online shopping platforms. I asked them what's their kind of business plan, for the coming years. They say that they really want to expand offline. Okay, right. So online is more like data interchange and more like kind of execution, right? But if you talk about real delivery of the goods and service, you still need to go offline. Okay, right. So for example, in China, you see all these what we call the BAD, Baidu, Alibaba, and Tencent. They, apart from they build a very big online platform, they also expand aggressively offline, right? To acquire like supermarket or logistics companies or different types of services company, in order to integrate with their online platforms. Okay, and also deliver a better service to the client. One interesting example is that with the advantage of the online platform, the time of the delivery of the product, from the store to the home is quickly, shortened. Okay, so actually improve, the customer experience. But however, I would say that the competition is getting more fierce than before, right? So because there are already quite a few, online, shopping platform. The entrant is actually not that many right now. But however, I do see is there some changes. Because the traditional, offline shopping, right? The operating model is also changing. Okay, so for example, in China, we actually see a new company called Pinduoduo. Okay, they actually try to leverage on the social media WeChat, try to connect with the customers, and actually receive the order, and then they place the order in a batch and negotiate a better price with the supplier. Okay.
Right.
So this is actually a new way of doing e-commerce, yeah. And I would say that now their daily turnover is the second biggest in China, just next to Taobao.
Right.
Yeah.
So that way people get a better deal when they purchase online.
So I think the business model is still evolving, right? And it's more actually to align with the changing customer need.
Sure.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the ongoing trade war. It's inevitable that I think probably the tariffs will go up as it seems like the president and Donald Trump has not yet achieved a deal. And some analysts believe that consumer spending will drop and that the global economy will slow down. Do you agree with this? And if not, why?
Yeah. So I think this negotiation between U.S. and China is still carry on, right? And we do hear news every day, okay?
Sure.
So I think today is a little bit softened, okay? Because Donald Trump said that it might be have a possibility to reach a deal with China, okay? Actually, back to your question about the economic growth, right? Actually, I think some of the analysts already predict that the global GDP growth will slow down in 2019, and will actually slow down also in 2020. Because at the moment, right, the GDP growth is very uneven across the world. So among the G7 countries, the dominant one actually is US. Just the US GDP growth already bypassed the whole European zone and also other developed nations.
Sure.
And the emerging countries, actually China and India take the lead. Okay. I think in terms of the private consumption, right? Of course, this is one of the major contributor of the GDP. In China, okay, the consumption actually is not doing quite well. Okay, I think it's both like of the private consumption. For example, we do see there's actually some decline. Okay, because the people also quite the consumer also quite skeptical to spend more because of this uncertainty in the market. And also the trade war, okay, and also in the PPI, I mean from the production, okay, the manufacturer also to be more conservative, right, to cut down their production, okay. But however, we do see some consumer price actually goes up, like for example, the pork, okay, some of the food, right, is also going up, okay. Actually, I think it's the private consumption is one of the key agenda of China, okay. So I think they want to stimulate more private consumption because private consumption is less vulnerable to external shock, and it's also more healthy for the long-term, economic growth. So I think recently China actually have organized the first import convention in Shanghai. Actually try to demonstrate the world that China actually is one of the largest importer of all kinds of merchants, right? So and actually we welcome any kind of good quality of products to import in China. But there's one thing that I think we need to also bear in mind, right? If China actually do more open to more import, okay, it may also affect their current account, right? So may also affect the outflow of the currency, okay. So I think the government also pay a close attention on the development.